Okay, just making sure this is all live. All right, so when is weight loss actually a bad thing? I'm gonna tell you about how I lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks and how that was the worst thing for me at the time. So, a lot of people think of weight loss as a good thing all the time, but usually what people are thinking about that is when you're losing fat. Because a lot of times fat can be unhealthy as we have too much of it. But the thing we don't want to lose in our weight loss is muscle. And as we lose weight quickly, a lot of the time we lose muscle along with the fat, or sometimes even a majority of muscle. And that's what happened to me. So I did it in the worst way possible. What I did is I just lost weight too fast. At the time, I was trying to be skinny, I was trying to be light, and people around me were trying to be really encouraging, helpful. I was getting compliments on, oh, you're so thin, you look great, that sort of thing. But what they didn't know was that I was actually not eating. I had dropped my calories to where I was eating under 2,000 calories a day, which is far too little for someone my size. At the time, I was eating probably somewhere around 2,000 calories too little. So because of that, the weight I was losing was a lot of muscle mass instead of fat. So at the time, it got to a point where I actually had to leave a work meeting because I felt so bad that I couldn't keep going. Because eventually your body just starts shutting down. So I had I started out not in a good place. I lost a ton of muscle from eating too little. Then when I realized that I was really not having enough calories, when I looked back and was like, you know what, I need to think about this more objectively, I went the other direction and started just eating a ton of extra calories. Now, what happens when your body has a huge calorie surplus, it doesn't just say, oh, I'm gonna put this partially to fat and then a lot to muscle, because muscle is important. You have a lot of protein, let's build a lot of muscle. What it does is it says, hey, the muscles are working a little bit, let's put a little bit to muscle and let's store up this in the fat for a rainy day. So instead of trying to just give myself a small calorie surplus to rebuild muscle, I tried to regain that weight in the same amount of time I lost it in those 2 weeks. And because of that, my body put on a lot of extra fat instead of balancing between fat and muscle. So, not all weight loss is the same, not all weight gain is the same. That's the other half of this, is you don't want to try and, just because the number's up on the scale doesn't mean you've built up fat. If you're doing resistance training like what we're doing here, then you can actually make that weight gain more muscle. Even though the scale says you're heavier, you actually are building up a healthy weight, because your muscle is your body's bank of nitrogen. I'm actually gonna leave this over here. That doesn't really show up much on camera either. So as you build muscle, it's your body is saving up that nitrogen, that protein for a rainy day. But because muscle is very metabolically expensive, your body doesn't want to have a ton of it just laying around. So if you don't use it, your body will start taking away those nutrients from the muscle and having the muscle shrink. The muscle cells don't go away, they just get much smaller. So as we use those muscle cells, we'll gain weight because the muscles get bigger, but you also are gaining a healthy weight. So when I'm trying to lose weight, I still maintain resistance training and try and do it slowly, so I'm keep preserving that muscle mass. If you're like me and trying to build up as much muscle as you can and trying to keep that fat down, resistance training is a great way of doing that by using those calories to build muscle rather than build up the fat cells. So the fat cells will just keep on getting bigger and more numerous. Your muscle cells just get bigger. So we want to limit how much we're building up those fat cells while maintaining that muscle mass. Now, I think weight loss can be a really good thing, but weight loss with resistance training, I think, is much better because your body only has so much muscle, and if you need to be able to move around with it. There we go. If you ever look at someone who doesn't have very much muscle, they almost look like a skeleton, where their muscle is just hanging off the bone. And they can't really move and be active like they want to be. So as much as we're able to, we don't want to just be light, we want to be light with a good amount of muscle. So as we do resistance training, whether it's bands, body weight, or dumbbells and free weights, or even machines and cables, as we do that, we're preserving our muscle mass even while we're losing weight, which will actually mean you lose more fat. So instead of saying, oh, I lost 10 pounds, 5 of it was muscle, 5 of it was fat, we could make that more like 8 pounds of fat and 2 pounds of muscle by doing resistance training. Wouldn't you rather have it lose more of this weight here? A lot of people do sit-ups to try and lose this weight. That doesn't actually work, turns out. But if you do resistance training, you can make sure that the weight that you lose is in the fat cells more than the other cells in your body. So one of the dangers of weight loss drugs is sometimes it can prioritize tissues you don't want to lose weight in. So it's very important to maintain a resistance training exercise to make sure that your body is keeping that muscle health and that bone health. Because especially if you're losing weight quickly, like what I did, your body will tend to try and get rid of muscle because muscle is taking up the calories it needs for things like your organs, your brain, and your body will try and hang on to fat as long as it can. So if we give your body a reason to hang on to muscle by doing resistance training, it will instead go and rely on that fat cell. And that's what we want. We want it to get rid of those fat cells, or not get rid of the cells, but shrink those fat cells. It's kind of an unfortunate thing. Your fat cells, once they're there, they stick around. So when you gain weight, your fat cell will fill up, and then once it's full, it will split into another cell. And so then that one will fill up. When you lose weight, they'll shrink down, but that other cell won't go away. It will just stick around shrunken down like that. So the more we can limit how much fast weight we gain, the more we can limit how much those cells split. So for me, what I did, learn from my example, don't try and gain back 10 pounds in 2 weeks, because that probably caused more problems for me down the road by having more fat cells potentially. And I'm trying to push my chest out, so I'm pinching my shoulder blades together, going down to the sides, keeping my hands at elbow width. Feels tighter on my right side for some reason. I like these two exercises because they work both the front and the back of my upper body. So I'm working my biceps, my lats, my traps, my pecs, and my anterior deltoid. Oh. So with this pulling exercise, working a lot of these posterior muscles in the back, and with the bench press, that incline press, I'm working a lot of that upper chest, and then the muscles in the back of my arm, and with some of the front of the shoulder as well. So I'm going to do a poll about workout times. Curious what time you guys usually work out. Is it more of a morning thing? Are you more of an early morning workout? or evening or afternoon. Because right now we've been doing a lot of afternoon workouts, but we might change that in the future, because I know several people, or a lot of people, are working out in the evenings times. So we might shift to an evening workout if need be. Trying to bring this all the way down where my elbows are fully bent and pushing straight up. 12. Oh, that burns. Oh, so that burns especially right across here. The pec, that chest muscle, it attaches at the sternum, and then it goes up and attaches both at the clavicle right here, and then in at the shoulder right here. So this works a little bit more that clavicular head, that part that attaches to the clavicle. I've been enjoying that because it pulls that shelf of your chest out a bit. So I'm trying to build that up a little bit. A lot of what I'm doing is focusing in on building up mostly in the arms while I'm losing weight. But that doesn't mean I want to neglect this entirely. It's not going to grow as fast as my arms are. Oh. So, when we're trying to lose weight, we want to prioritize resistance training and small weight loss consistently over time to maintain healthy muscles while losing fat. If you're liking this live stream and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you there. We're going to keep on going, focusing onto the muscles of the arms now. So for this, I'm going to move the bench out of the way. I've really been liking tricep extensions overhead. I know some people really like skull crushers, and that is a great exercise, but I found for me, the overhead tricep extension, I feel it more in the back of my tricep when I do that. Because I'm trying to get bigger arms, I spend a lot of effort trying to work on this tricep and tricep back here and bicep in the front. So I like this, brings that elbow up high, so I'm really lengthening that tricep. I can feel that tension pulling right across here. In martial arts, used to do push-ups to try and build up tricep, but I always found that my chest would wear out first. So I like these a lot better now that I'm doing more specific resistance training. I can really emphasize the muscles that I want to build up. So working the muscles in the bicep and tricep. So this one really targets in on that tricep muscle, that back of the arm. I think that's one of the big things I regret about my teenage years is I'm not someone who has a whole lot of regrets, but I wish I had done resistance training younger. I had a bench and a set of weights. They weren't great, but they were something, and I could have started with just that and gotten a lot of muscle mass when I was young that I could have kept a lot easier. So I always worked out, but I did a lot more high intensity interval training in martial arts and a lot of flexibility training. So we train for speed, and that's great, but I wish I had done more resistance training to build up more muscle mass. Because now I think a pretty good amount of muscle mass for someone my age, but I always wish I had a little bit more, because as we age, we lose muscle mass and muscle strength. Just naturally. So the more you can build up, the easier it will be. So if I'm starting from here and losing a little bit of strength, it'll be better than if I start from here and lose a little bit of strength, where I have only this amount left by the time I'm 70 or 80. So that's why I'm trying to build up as much as I can the younger I am. And so that way I don't regret it 10, 20 years down the road where I suddenly have maybe noticed for the first time. So that's why I want to do this with you guys, because I don't want you to wake up 10, 20 years down the road and regret what happened today. So if you're just starting out, today is the day to start. Incorporate a little bit of resistance training, make it a part of your habit, because you'll thank yourself in 10, 20 years when you still are strong, have muscle, and are healthy and are able to move like you want to. I know a lot of friends my age that are, so I'm 38, and a lot of them are in their 30s, and they're saying, oh, my back's hurting, it's hard to get up and down from a chair, and they're only 30. And that is because they stopped moving, they stopped using their muscle, and so their muscle is starting to deteriorate. Now, if you're feeling that at 30, how are you going to feel at 40 or 50? So, I want to make sure that people live healthy, are able to do what they want to do, able to thrive and live without regretting without missing out. So if you want to build muscle with me, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, showing you all the things I'm doing to maintain my body's health and build muscle. And because if we're not building it, then you're in a slow decline in that muscle loss. We can work and build that muscle up. It just takes work. It takes putting your body through a little bit of stress, not pain, but maybe some discomfort, but the results and the benefit is worth it. I think something for me is I never thought I could reach that point, so I didn't try. I didn't try and build a physique. I didn't try and get buff, especially in my teen years, because I just thought it was never possible. But the more I've grown in experience and seen and studied, I've realized that that is possible to do, that it's within reach. I just need to work at it and keep working at it. So I can build that muscle, I can lose the weight, I can do these things. It just takes time and effort, which it's not all at once. And that's really the benefit, is you don't have to go so extreme that you have to build up this muscle in a week. So it's just a little bit each time. I think that's part of the thing. I was thinking, oh, I have to go from here to here instantly. That's impossible. But stair-stepping it little by little up, I was able to start making changes in my body, broadening my shoulders, reducing weight from here. And I'm going to be stronger a little bit every time. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but it does occur. My goal is to be stronger at 40 than I was at 30. I want a six-pack by 40, and I'm working towards that goal. So if you're like me and wanting to be better tomorrow than you are today, whether you're 10, 20, 30, or 80, join me in this journey where we work out together, building up muscle. And if you'd like to, join me in losing fat as well. I'm aiming for about a pound of fat loss, or a pound of weight loss, I should say, every week. So for me, that's a 500, or for to do that, that's about 500 calories in deficit every day. That's about 3 sodas worth of calories, or 3 shots of alcohol if you are someone who drinks. So one of the reasons I don't drink is because those calories add up really fast. And I'd rather eat, so for me, I'd rather have a piece of cheesecake than a margarita. But if you do have calories like that, it's one of the easiest ways of actually reducing those calories per week is to cut out alcohol or cut out soda. I found those are the 2 places people spend a lot of their calories. Now, if you are used to drinking soda, then diet soda can be a really good option for switching away from regular soda. You still have that carbonation, you still have that same flavor or very similar flavor, but you get a lot less calories in. A lot of people don't realize how much even just 1 soda a day adds up over time. So same thing with muscle gain. If you could expect to gain about a pound of muscle a month, now numbers vary on that. Some people it's more, some people it's less. But let's say it's about a pound per month distributed through your whole body. So it's not all in your arms or all in your chest or all in your legs. It's a little bit distributed through all the muscles you're working. But over time, if you think about it, if over time it's a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, it's hard to see it day to day. So without taking pictures, it's a really hard thing to see. I'm really used to looking at physiques and looking at doing personal training with people. And even then it's hard to see because it's such a gradual change over time. That's why before and after photos are so helpful to see how much your body has actually changed by working out. But so if it's a quarter of a pound per week or a pound per month, over time, think about taking a quarter pound hamburger and distributing it across your whole body. Over time, that will start to show up as larger and larger muscles. Now, if we don't do any resistance training, if we stop using our muscle, your body can lose about 1% of your muscle per year after 35, give or take. So 1% smaller each time, it's just chipping away at your muscle all the time. So unless you're working to maintain it or build up more, your body is slowly losing that muscle. So we don't, and that's what's called sarcopenia. We don't want to lose that muscle. So that's why we do resistance training, to maintain that muscle health and maintain that muscle size. It's muscle size, muscle strength, and muscle power. So you get a little bit of, you get some strength and power with any resistance training. There are ways to prioritize those, but I think that especially starting out, training for muscle size is a great place for everyone to build up that size, that tendon strength. You'll feel better. That connective tissue builds up. The muscle size swells up. You have a visual change, so it's very apparent you've gotten bigger and the exercises are working. Then as you go, if you would like to, you can always change the exercises to lower reps, higher weight, to work on strength as you get further along. But even just doing high reps will still give strength benefits, just not as much. It's a little bit less strength, a little bit more muscle size. But I find a lot of people are going for that anyway, so the strength benefits will come along with it. And we don't have to specialize unless you're going for something specific. Now, if you're trying to be a power lifter, you're gonna wanna train strength. If you're just like me, just trying to be healthy, I personally think it's really important to train for muscle size. And this you can do day in, day out for a long period of time, just working on muscle size, and you'll see a lot of those health benefits from doing so. You're increasing the capillary density to your muscles so you can actually reduce blood pressure, which that affects your entire body. So there's a lot of benefits beyond just aesthetics, and aesthetics are great. You can also prioritize how your body is carrying weight, change your body composition, decrease your blood pressure, improve your venous return, or the return of blood back to your heart, because as your legs strengthen, they help push blood back up to your heart. So all those, there's a lot of benefit to working out. It can help your mood as well. So if you're wanting it just for the mental effects, it's a great way of improving mood, feeling better, reducing anxiety. I'm not someone who struggles with anxiety that much, but I know that I can feel somewhat on edge or antsy if I stop working out. So I can only imagine how much worse that would be if it's for someone who really has a hard time with anxiety. And if you don't work out, give it a try. It might help you feel a lot better. Oh. All right. So we're gonna stop with arms and shift into some leg exercises. So I'm going to do a wider stance squat. So I'm trying to have my feet about wider than shoulder width, because I want to hit more of these adductors on the inner part of my thigh. Now I'd like to get a little wider than this, but the band actually is limiting me because it's overstretching if I do that. So that is a limitation of the bands, but we're gonna keep on going with bands today. So from here, I'm gonna sit all the way down, low as I can, while keeping my chest up. And this I should really feel on the inside of my thigh. I'm gonna try and keep my hands up high at shoulder height to keep that tension on the band the whole time. Try and go deep down low, really stretch those inner hip muscles while keeping my knees out. And 15. I'm trying to do that more where I'm getting these stretched out, because I've noticed that as I stop training for as much flexibility in these muscles, I haven't been able to quite get as low as I want to. I'd love to get more like right here, where I'm about that much lower. So as I work on strengthening and stretching those in that wide squat, these muscles will actually be able to pull apart further, where it's like this, and still be strong in that range. So now I'm gonna work the muscles in the back of my legs. So I'm gonna stand right in the middle of the band, this time about feet shoulder width apart, hands up by my shoulders. I'm gonna make sure it's even on both sides. From here, I'm gonna bow to the front by pushing my hips out to the back, trying to keep my feet flat on the ground. Should feel that in the back of my thigh and back of my hips. So I'm pulling or bowing to the front. Should feel that pulling sensation on my hamstrings. Have a slight bend in my knee, but I'm not trying to bend my knees like a squat. I'm just not locking my knee completely. So that, as I'm going down like this, I'm working all these posterior muscles. So those glutes, hamstrings, a lot of people, these are very tight, especially if you sit down a lot during the day. These muscles can really shorten. A lot of people pull their hamstring because they haven't been using it. It's gotten short and tight and weak, and then they go to use it and stretch it out and it can't, it's brittle. So it breaks. Or they haven't warmed up properly and they go to do something like running, they come down on that leg and that muscle gives out. For me, what happened in martial arts training is I was doing a stretch kick where you go straight up to the front, and I tried to touch my shoulder with my knee, and that pulled my hamstring back here because I hadn't warmed up at all. I just came in and tried to kick, and then that pulled on my left side. So that's why I'm trying to re-strengthen this, especially on my left leg, because of that injury, tightens back up a lot easier. So I'm trying to maintain that by doing these good morning exercises to strengthen those hamstrings. So if you're liking this video and like the content, like what we're talking about, hit that thumbs up for me to let me know you want more content like this. Okay, standing wide. I'm gonna make sure it's not gonna snap on me. That's the thing with these bands, you don't want to stretch them more than double their length. Okay. Whoa. It started to slip. That's not gonna, we're not counting that rep. I'm trying to go straight down to where my elbows are dropping to my knees, keeping my chest up. Leaning a little bit to one side, huh? There we go. I'd like to get to the point where my elbows actually touch my knees, but I can't quite get that low yet. Trying to keep my back straight as I do this, and my chest up. Widening those legs though really stretches out those inner thigh muscles, those inner hip muscles. So those actually help make your legs look broader, but they also help the muscles in your hips and back A lot of people don't realize that these are tight for them, and those actually impact your ab muscles and your core. Those pelvic floor muscles. Imagine or they attach into the pelvic floor down here. Imagine a foundation of muscle underneath your hip bones. That's your pelvic floor. It actually creates that stability for you down here. So if those muscles get tight, it can affect a lot of different things. It can actually affect your internal organs a bit too. So I'm trying to make sure that those are strong, healthy, and flexible. So now working on the hamstrings and glutes. So doing a good morning, slight bend to the knees, pushing the hips out to the back, feeling that tension in the back of the hamstrings, really trying to drive those hips back. Now I've been doing a stretch for my hamstrings every day for about 30 seconds. I've really been liking what that's done for this exercise and just how I feel during the day. My legs are a lot more relaxed. I feel like, especially at night, sometimes I get so tense in my hamstrings, it's hard to fall asleep, especially on that left side where I've pulled my hamstring before. So stretching out has made a big difference on that leg tension and just being able to relax at night. I don't know if any of you struggle with sleep problems, but I personally have a hard time getting to sleep sometimes, and that affects every aspect of my life. So anything I can do to help that work a little bit better, like stretching to help the muscles relax, makes a big difference. So for the hamstrings, what I do is I lay down on my back, put one foot against a wall or a post, and then I try and push my heel into the post to straighten my knee, so I'm feeling that stretch in the back of the thigh, back in here. So hips all the way against the post and driving that heel into straightening the leg. And holding this for 30 seconds. Just when you do this, if you feel numbness in your foot, you've gone too far. If you feel any sort of tingling down your leg, you're stretching the nerve, you've gone too far. Just go to where you feel tension in the muscle, but no pain, no tingling. I always try and hold these for about 30 seconds of continuous stretch and then switch to the other side. So important thing, you want your hip all the way against the wall. So you're stretching all the way up to the top of your hip, or sorry, the back of your hip. So the full length of that muscle. It's okay if you need to bend your knee more. That's all right. If this is as far as you can get, that's okay. Just if you feel that stretch in the back of the thigh. The more flexible you are, the straighter that knee can be. Just try and breathe into the stretch. We're almost trying to relax into this. We're desensitizing the nerves to this stretch feeling and actually helping the muscle lengthen. We're pulling on all those tissues and causing adaptation in them. All right, so I've got one more stretch. This is for the muscles on the front of the thigh, so those quad muscles, and then some on the front of the shoulder as well. So what I've been doing is I've been leaning back, putting my hands flat on the ground, so I'm feeling a stretch across my chest and the front of my thigh. Now, if you need to, you can push your hips forward to increase that front of the hip stretch. So all the way from the front of the hip to the front of the thigh, and holding for 30 seconds. Some people will feel this in their chest. Now, if you can't get your hands flat on the ground, that's okay. Just lean back until you feel that stretch on the front of your thigh. And relax. So if you like these workouts and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you there.